How's it going, guys? So, I want to make this relatively quick, or quicker than I usually, I usually yak on here. What I'm noticing over the course of this week, you know, I've been mentioning two things. One thing is that, it's just my humble opinion that what happened in Israel was allowed by certain forces in the apparatus, in the government apparatus, in the it's not even the current government. It's in the apparatus of Israel. What's called certain elements in the military who are not doing things not in the best interest of Israel, and certain elements inside of you're talking about the courts, you're talking about other places. So this was allowed to happen, just as based on the facts of the way it happened, and the fact of this is the most fortified area in Israel, and for something like that to happen, it had to have been allowed. The second thing that I've been saying, all I've been trying to do is just give people the background and the historical background of how we got to this point. And I wish this wasn't the case, but how do we get to this point? We pulled Jews out of their homes in Gaza, in a place called Gush Katif, and outlying, outside areas over there. Jews and Arabs back then lived relatively together, in relative coexistence. Jews were able to shop in the markets over there and all these kind of things. And so, listen, long story short, Ariel Sharon facilitated the creation of this organization called Hamas, and to be as a counter to PLO, because his biggest enemy was Yasser Arafat. This was the precursor to the PA. Basically, the PA is PLO. PLO is the same thing. So, pulled Jews out of their homes, facilitated the creation of Hamas. So, for saying that, guys, for saying both of those things, I've already been accused by so-called friends, people that I thought were friends, of saying Lashon Hara, because I'm saying something against either the government of Israel, at what they call at a time like this, or I'm saying something against the Jew. I'm giving people history, and apparently I'm doing slander. Guys, first of all, these people have to learn the laws of Lashon Hara in depth, and I'm speaking to myself as well, because I'm in the process of learning, trying to learn more and more. But guys, I'm only here to say that I'm just gonna double down on what I'm saying. People have to know the history of how we got to this point. The thing that's startling to me is that since 2005 and all these, I guess you can call them skirmishes we've had with Hamas, people, all the stuff that's been done, all the car rammings, all the stabbings, all the shootings, all the rockets that we, supposedly stopped with Iron Dome, all those things were not red lines for people. They were red lines for me, immediately. But they weren't red lines for people. People just got used to it. They got used to what's called in Israel the matzav, the situation. People are tired. The matzav has been going on for a while. The government doesn't care. The government doesn't solve this. Okay, so what are we going to do? What are you going to do? Okay. There was no red lines for people, right? Even when, they attacked Orthodox Jews in Har Nof, in Jerusalem, 2014. It was horrible what it was, but it wasn't a red line. When they took the 3 boys, it was horrible. Everybody was united, just like we are today, but it wasn't such a red line. Now that they did Baba Yar, a freaking Baba Yar / mini Auschwitz, that's a red line, even for these liberals, so-called leftists in America. Guys, this is the most confounding thing to me, okay? But all the things that I just listed to you, all those events, all those moments, they started as a result of one act. 2005, we pulled Jews out of their homes with the hopes of, that Arabs down there would do something with it. What happened? They elected an entity called Hamas, and we know the rest of the story. The last 18 years, guys. 18 years has been going on, and apparently there's no red lines for you. Until now, right? Now, people like Jon Stewart, people like Anderson Cooper, crying on television. Oh my God, oh my God. Guys, I get the feeling people are masochists, like schizophrenics. Meanwhile, they're accusing guys like me of Lashon Hara, of simply saying, literally, that the sky's blue. Literally outlining history to you and how we got to this point. No, it's not good to say this at a time like this. Afterwards, we can go. Guys, it's dafka the best time to say this at a time like this. Again, if not now, then when? It's like my parents say in Russian, a когда еще? When else? When they say something to me and I'm like, oh guys, I'm not going to do this now. I can't focus on this now. When else are you going to focus on? When you're asleep, when you're busy, or what? Guys, now dafka is the time. We've been saying it before this happened. We've been saying it for the past 18 years. Nobody's listening. Now that there's a conversation, now that everybody's on social media, now that it's called in Russian vtemya. It's topical, right? Now that it's topical, now that the iron is hot, we have to say something. We have to tell people, use this as an opportunity to tell people how the hell we got to this point. How did we get to this point? We allowed it. Our apparatus, yes, our Erev Rav, self-hating, religion-hating apparatus, these elite. I'm talking about the elite. I'm not talking about a lot of people in the population, even the ones that were protesting, whatever it is. A lot of people are just ignorant, unfortunately. Now, and by the way, those same people, to their credit, are now, some of them have restaurants that were not kosher in Tel Aviv, and they're koshering the restaurants to feeding soldiers. Kol hakavod, Baruch Hashem, okay? All praises to them. So, but guys, we're being ruled. We're being ruled. Our apparatus that has been there pretty much since, I would say the 70s. We're being ruled by demon beasts. Actually, even before that. If you guys look at the history of who founded the state, or some of the people that founded the state, not all of them. I don't know if you guys know, we also had, at that time, conflict between those two entities. What's called Hashomer Hatzair / the Haganah versus whatever. I'm not going to it's too complicated of a story. But the point is, one of those entities ordered firing on a ship called the Altalena, right? I don't want to get into that story, right? Again, at a time like this, we have to unite, right? Guys, but in order to understand how we got to this point, you have to know the history. In order to solve the problem, you have to get to the root of the problem. The root of the problem, meaning Hamas is a cancer, but how did that cancer come about? The cancer came about because the body was putting in garbage. The body isn't healthy. The body, meaning Israel, it's not healthy. And so you have this cancer. You have this, I guess you can call it, people think it's benign, but it's actually a malignant tumor. You see now, it's attacking the body. It just attacked the body. The body is bleeding from all ends. And people are telling me about, don't say this and don't say that. Now's not the time. Oh, you're saying Lashon Hara. Guys, these are people, again, the people that are ruling Israel, the apparatus of Israel, the bureaucracy of it, the bureaucratic apparatus, are people with Jewish last names. But they don't like their own country. Or they like the country when it was something else, when it comprised, when it was composed of something else. Now that they see that people are taking on Torah and mitzvot, or as they call it, it's turning into a theocracy, now we have a problem. Guys, I'm sorry. I'm going to double down. This is not Lashon Hara. I'm sorry. It's not Lashon Hara. I'm allowed to say what I want to say about my own government. I'm allowed to point out what I think happened. Because if you look at it just like common sense wise, there's no way that this should have happened unless it was allowed to happen for whatever reason. And there are interests that need war to happen, right? Now we have flotillas on the coast of Israel, American flotillas, just in case things break out. Guys, who's making money off of this? There's a lot of people making money off conflict, right? They would rather have conflict than not. Perpetual, guys. Again, I'm repeating to you again. We've had this situation with Hamas and Gaza for 18 years. And we had governments upon governments upon governments who could have solved it like this. Now that it's gotten to mini Auschwitz / Baba Yar, now we're finally sending in troops. And now it's going to be even worse than it would have been had we sent in, again, guys, This is common sense. And I'm speaking Lashon Hara. And I'm being divisive at a time like this. Guys, when else? Again, when else do you say stuff? If not now. When else can you say it? Everybody's listening. We have a captive audience. All eyes on the situation. Guys, we're not going to solve this unless we know where this came from. Unless we know the root. The root is we pulled our own people out of their homes. And we got zombie orcs instead, throwing rockets at us for 18 years, stabbing us for 18 years, running us over with cars. Guys, all those entities, these are all Hamas operating everywhere, not just in Gaza, right? In Judea and Samaria as well, in Jerusalem. PA, Hamas, I mean, guys, at this point, it's sort of one entity, even though they're rival political factions. But in the end, it's all part of the same overall movement, the Palestinian movement. But we allow this, guys. We allow this. These guys used to fear us. They don't fear us anymore. It's been 50 years since anybody feared us or respected us. 50 years. Guys, we let anywhere between 10 to 15 of them in our Knesset. Guys, I'm just going to say this. If you allow your enemy who wants to tear down your state into your government, into your parliament, it's like allowing Himmler or anybody else from the SS into your government. You must be psychotic. You must be masochistic. You must be schizophrenic. Guys, again, everything I'm saying, we've been saying this before, but this is the best time to say it. Not the worst time to say it. This is the best time to say it. Yeah, our brave soldiers are going in now and doing what they have to do, and we pray for them. We send them supplies, which is a shock to me that we even have to send them, supplies, that Israel doesn't have supplies. What happened to the $3 billion we get from America? Where does that go? Oh, wait, it goes back into the American, military complex that we have to buy certain weapons. It's basically a glorified money laundering operation, a legalized one. So now we have to. I mean, we're happy to do it, but we have to send guys night vision stuff and vests, Kevlar vests, and all the rest of it. Baruch Hashem, I guess, whatever. It's unity. Thank God, Hashem gave us this opportunity to do a mitzvah. Shouldn't complain about that. But listen, guys. If you have something to say, say it. It ain't Lashon Hara. If it's the emes, if it's the truth, it ain't Lashon Hara in this particular case, because this is a life or death situation. And we have to know how we got to this point. We got to this point. It's been an 18-year, trajectory. And most people don't know this. A lot of people either haven't been following, they don't know the history, or they were too young to understand how we got to this point. This did not happen in a vacuum, guys. But unfortunately, it took a Baba Yar, a mini Auschwitz, for everybody in our nation and including the world to be like, oh my goodness gracious, wow. Okay, now we're going to do something. Where the hell were you for 18 years, guys? Where was everybody? I mean, again, we're being ruled by not good people. And we just have to realize this. We have to realize this. And I don't know what else to say. Anyway, guys, stay safe. Oh, just one last thing. Tomorrow night, as we know, the guy who I like to call Amalekite George Clooney, Khaled Mashal, basically said for all Hamas operatives around the world and people who sympathize, empathize, whatever, basically to target all Jews around the world. Guys, if you're going to shul, and that shul is not protected by either people who are armed or law enforcement, I suggest you don't go to shul. And same thing with community meals, it has to be armed. Has to be somebody in there, at least one person or two people who know what to do in the event of something. Guys, I went to the border with my friend Frank, but I didn't even need to go to the border to know this bit of information. Hezbollah, and probably Hamas as well, have been setting up shop in Venezuela for like 20 years. This is where all these people are coming from. They're walking through the Darien Gap in Panama, and they're walking into our country. Guys, they're all over America. And they're just waiting. They're waiting for orders, right? guys, don't be a sitting duck. Don't be a sitting duck. Have your eyes peeled. If you live in a blue state, you know, and I'm speaking to myself right now too. Be, you know, be vigilant and yeah, do, you know, figure out a way how to defend yourself, how to get something where you can defend yourself, even if it's from your, you know, your own home, even if you can't carry it around like in other states, you can carry it around with you. Okay. That's it, guys. I mean, I don't know what else to say, but this Lashon Hara business and this not, you know, this is not the time business and all this stuff, guys. This is the time, and you have to tell people the history. You have to. You must. We have. There's no other option. There's no other option. And it's not Lashon Hara. Whoever's saying this doesn't know what the hell they're talking about. Anyway, guys, stay safe and.